What's up, guys? Today you're watching the SRS Roofing Podcast. My name's Jacob. This is TJ, and today we're going to be talking about what are we talking about today?
We're talking about our intro of how we got into the roofing industry.
That's right. So I guess I'll start. Well, no, you should start because you have a more interesting story. You have a more interesting story than I do.
Well, first of all, I just want to say I got these glasses here from Mega Safety at Work. Pretty cool. Thanks for sending these.
Yeah, shout out those guys.
If you want a pair, you can get them off Amazon or their website. And yeah, really neat. Really high quality, by the way. This is not sponsored, but thanks for the sample pair. They come in red and black. So
the chicks love them.
Yeah, they make me. I mean, they're really like feel these things. Yeah, these are heavy duty safety glasses. So when you're on the roof, torching and doing some adhered systems, you got the side shields to protect you. I like it. So yeah, today we're going to be talking about how we got into the roofing industry. I've been in the roofing industry for on and off for quite some time. Just never really left me. Jacob.
Yeah, I'm more recent. So I got into the roofing industry about a little over a year ago. I was doing marketing for roofing companies, and I wanted to get some real industry experience. So I decided to join a local roofing company.
Decided to message me on LinkedIn.
Message him on LinkedIn, and yeah, the rest is history so far. So for the last 5 months, I've been working here and just digging my toes into it, I guess.
But you were in construction before.
Yeah. I was a carpenter before that. Poured a lot of concrete. So I have general construction industry experience, but not specific to roofing. So yeah, I think the roofing industry is. I mean, of all of the.
You did pressure washing too.
Yeah. So I guess I'm pretty entrepreneurial myself. I remember the first time, so I started a pressure washing company, probably like 3.5 years ago, and it was nothing crazy, nothing special. But still, as when I was 25, I kind of really got the entrepreneurial bug, which I wish I would have gotten it earlier, but I only got it because I started a pressure washing business, and I would work Monday through Thursday, and then I'd wash Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I would always make like 4 times what I would make for the whole month that I would work at my regular job. And it really shifted my perspective on making money and how, you can just get it on your own. And I've always wanted to figure out a way to do that for myself. And that was my sort of entryway into entrepreneurship. And so since then I've been,
What got you to go from here? Don't mean to cut you off, but I do. What got you to go from pressure washing to getting into marketing, and why didn't you do did you ever do marketing for pressure washers?
Yeah, so I pressure washed for a year and a half, and I grew it, or I would generate leads from Facebook ads. So that was my thing. I learned how to run Facebook ads really early on, and it just would generate me leads while I was at work. So I would call them while I was at work and then book them in for the weekend. And that was how I did it. But I really enjoyed the marketing aspect of it. And I didn't necessarily enjoy pressure washing. It was just a way to make money. But through that, I kind of fell in love with marketing. And so that's like my bread and butter. So I started doing marketing for pressure washers, figured out it's very difficult for pressure washers to pay me and also justify the cost to run ads for themselves, because pressure washers, they really don't make that much money, especially in comparison to roofing. So I did that for a while, and then I jumped around some industries with marketing, figured out that roofing, I didn't realize that roofing was so lucrative until later. And so they make a small roofing company makes like $5 million versus a pressure washer can make $100,000 or $200,000 maybe a year, working full time, unless you want to hire a team, blah blah blah. So anyways, I really liked the marketing aspect of it, and I went full speed on Facebook ads. I learned everything there is to know. I learned to build websites, did SEO, all kinds of stuff, while still working at my regular job, and quit that about a year and a half ago to pursue marketing full time. And then I ended up here. But anyways, long story short, I have a really deep marketing background and knowledge of marketing. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm just using a lot of those skills right now, as well as selling, but also marketing in this company here. So that's been really fun. So that's kind of the sped up version of it. But yeah, marketing's great. It's the best. You just got to pair it with an opportunity that pays you well.
So what made you want to like get like, instead of going from like marketing, like obviously as a business owner and being an entrepreneur, it's one of the 7 keys that you have to learn and master and be successful in. So what made you want to do, you know, marketing, like as far as like roofs, like, you know, I'm going to switch from marketing for power washing, but I want to do roofing.
Yeah. So I figured out that there's really a formula with most advertising, depending on the place that you're advertising from, whether it be Facebook or Google. There's a specific way that you're supposed to do it, you know, because it's how people use those platforms that you should, you know, create your marketing around. So with Facebook, I got really good at Facebook, and I understand how to create a successful Facebook ad, no matter if it's pressure washing or roofing or it doesn't matter what industry it is. It's interruption marketing. You have to templatize the ad in a way that captures attention and gives somebody an offer and maybe exercises some expertise, just enough so that they click on the ad and give you their information. I'm good at doing that. So I figured like, okay, I could run the same ad or create an ad for a pressure washer, and you know, the amount of money that they would be able to give me is about this much. But for a roofer, I bring a lot more value to the table because I can generate them jobs that are going to produce 10 times the profit of what that pressure washer can make, right? Mm-hmm. So it's just a larger, bigger opportunity. I think it was like Warren Buffett who said, it's the size of the boat that you're in, right? It's not how fast you row. So it's the opportunity. You could have like a small pressure washing, it to me, and not to hate on any pressure washers out there, it's a great opportunity. I think it's more of a beginner opportunity though. And then you realize when you look at the landscape of everything, how many more larger opportunities there are that you can put the same amount of effort and input in and get 5x to 10x the return. So that's what I realized. And so that's why I switched up. Some people say like stick to your niche. I say pick a niche that's going to pay you well. So that's what I think.
It's a good niche.
Yeah. That is a good niche. What about you? You have some deep knowledge. Goes way back.
Yeah, I mean, mine goes back to like almost like 99. Like I was thinking about it. Like I started my first roof when I was in 8th grade. My grandpa needed his roof to be done, and instead of hiring someone to do the roof, he was like, "Hey, I'll pay you one summer to install your roof." And that's where it all started. He had a wooden ladder. It was a flat roof. It was a tar roof, actually. So we did it. You know, he taught me. We did it with tar in a bucket and laid down the sheets. And I just had a lot of fun, like doing it, even though it was like messy and all that. But I mean, it was summertime. I was making good money, like, installing this roof for him. And, in 8th grade, like, working on a flat roof, it didn't really get better, getting a tan. I liked working out. And so I liked the physical labor of the install. And then after that, I got into working for a company called... We are both just filled at our phones today. So, was that my wife calling you again?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So, if you can't get hold of me, just call Jacob. Yeah. So anyhow, one thing that I really enjoyed the labor, getting into the roofing industry, what with my grandfather. My father dabbled in working with Tech America, and he was more on fabrication and stuff like that. But I went and worked the next summer, actually almost all the way to winter too, in high school for a company called Rain Shield. Guy's name was Rick, and we cruised around in some old vans, and we started doing steep slope roofs, shingles. I did not like that actually as much, but it was good money, for working in high school and everything.
I bet.
Here's a job here delivering materials, here and there. Got to work on some pretty nice houses in Bellingham, and it just kind of got me through the summer. And then once I got out of high school, I ended up going down to college, playing football and rugby and baseball, and down in Southern California. And I was pursuing in the gym industry as a personal trainer. But roofing just was always there. I worked for a company called TSP. He was friends with my dad. They used to work together in Whatcom County way back in the day. Went down and visited with him. In that time, I was really intrigued with business and learning systems, and I was hiring Mastermind. I think my first one was Bedros Koulian back then, and Craig Ballantyne, and they were more in the fitness area, but they were talking about systems, processing. That's what I was doing in my personal training gym business, and just to make ends meet, because I was building an app. I was working, delivering roofs and working on estimates and stuff like that, and just whatever I could to get me through college. The gym industry, it really in 2007, 2008, economy kind of tinkered down. So construction and roofing and everything really slowed down. So at that time, which is kind of weird, I kind of had my big boom in the fitness industry. Mm-hmm. And that's where things really started taking off. The app, we ended up, selling that. We ended up opening up 3 gym locations during that time, and things was good. I was living in Newport Beach, and I was enjoying it. And then I was also working as a project manager for a company called McCarthy. So I went to school for kinesiology, physical therapy, but I also went to school for construction management. So once I found out hey, I don't really want to be a physical therapist and work with old people, I switched it up to being in construction management, because I liked building things. I liked building projects. I liked renovating houses. I liked building gyms. I had a smoothie shop. We renovated that. Those were fun projects for me. So I got into construction management, did really well with McCarthy, scaled up really fast, became, the VP, in that industry within 4 years. And then at that time, the gyms, they were running themselves. I was making good money, and ended up, basically, I wasn't really happy and fulfilled. Because I didn't really like the corporate America kind of thing, but the gyms made good money, but not enough money to live really comfortably in California. And so that's where we started doing online marketing, where it was we called it fitness lead gen, where we were running Facebook ads and running that to other gym owners. We were working with a guy named Sam Bactiera, 7-figure Sam at the time, and ended up, running a couple other boot camps, growing that, and ended up doing with a company called Gym Launch with Alex Ramosi, and That went good, all the way up until that time too. Like my daughter was just born. I was out, so we gym launch. We would fly around. We'd go help gyms turn around and do cells, for them with a challenge. It was like a free week, 6 week challenge, or some fitness challenge that was a high barrier offer, but very easy, low barrier to get in. So it was a big ticket sell, and they had to lose a certain amount of weight or grow a certain amount of muscle in a certain amount of time, and then they would credit that money back into their gym membership. So it was pretty successful. I just had my daughter. We were down doing a launch down in California, and my daughter got sick with a kidney disease, and I had to leave, and it just like kind of woke me up as far as like I don't have to go. I shouldn't have to go and like fly everywhere to be able to do these launches for gyms. And now that I got a family, it was it's kind of like I had to take a private jet like back to Washington to see my daughter hooked up to a bunch of like IVs and everything like that, and she's not even 6 months old. And so that's where it was just kind of like, okay, like I now have to be able to create freedom for myself. And so that I ended up leaving. Gym launch, we split ways, everything like that. Went into what's called Pro Fitness Assistant. Launched a bunch of gyms in there, and things went good. Some gyms were very successful. Pro Fitness Assistant was extremely successful. We had a lot of so basically we were assistants. We taught gym owners how to here's how you get sales, here's how you process payments, here's how you create systems and hire the right people, and here's how you staff, here's how you get your money and keep your money and spend your money, and here's how you operate and grow as a leader like within the gym industry. And so it was like an on-demand we also had a call center where we helped out gym owners, and it was great. That gym, like Pro Fitness Assistant, it actually ended up going with Anytime Fitness, Self-Esteem Brands, and they were able to implement it and everything like that. And I've had a couple Anytime Fitnesses, and I failed at a couple, and during COVID I had to shut one down, and that was just kind of interesting because I saw that construction was essential. So when everything was being shut down, things were still being built. And that's what really, I think, switched my mind. Like with, fitness is great, but it was really hard, dealing with the industry. A lot of egos, a lot of people quitting on themselves, and kind of gets discouraging. I'm not a quitter. I know when to throw in the towel, as far as okay, this ain't working, we gotta try something else. But just giving up on goals, I'm not one to do, right? And so I just really just took some time for the next basically year and 7 months, just focused on my family, my goals, revisiting that. I would also say I wasn't, I was going through some stuff too. I wasn't really showing up at the home. I wasn't really, I had a lot of personal stuff that I had to work with and deal with in order to be a good father, be a good husband, and be able to provide and just support and communicate better with everyone in my life. I think I'm such a go. At that time, I had no balance. The only thing that mattered was work. And so I hired a guy named Garrett J. White, went and did Wake Up Warrior. It was great. Great, time to spend, focus on myself, work on my marriage, work on, I didn't have the best figure like showing up like as a father. And spent some more time with volunteering at my church, and just sharpened up my skills. I made a lot of good. I learned a lot of good things during that time, but I was also life was pretty chaotic and very not like committed. I didn't know what my legacy or my future was, and some would say, "Man, like you were very successful," and others would say, "Man, you were not successful." And I would probably have to agree with, yeah, I made money, but I wasn't the best at like keeping it. But I also like made so much money too, where it was not well distributed. And when I was started, like during COVID, I was building an apartment and for myself, and that's where I was like, hey, like the world of construction's still going, and we're still able to build houses. And in 2018, I started a company called Thrive, and that company was a development company. I took my money that I made in the fitness industry and invested it into real estate, and was planning on just being a landlord for the rest of my life, which I could be, no problem. But that's where I was sitting down and saw, okay, well, I'm writing checks for all these subcontractors and everything like that, and the industry is still booming. And I saw some of my friends who were still in the industry in construction who have done well, and that's what like made me to really rethink, like, okay, like what if I went back to like my roots? I really like dealing with people. I really like sales. I know how to market. I know how to grow teams. I know how to be a leader. I know how to run big projects. I've ran some really big roofing projects in Seattle. And I got a lot of opportunity. And so I went back to the roofing industry and spent, actually ended up working with a bigger company, and had some ties there, and it was good. We grew the company, and the company eventually sold, and that's where like the family feel kind of changed a little bit. But it was also taxing. Like I knew like I wasn't going to be at that company very long. I knew that the entrance and the exit was the plan, to just sharpen up and kind of get a gist of it. The travel, like going back and forth. I mean, I was traveling, doing like business deals, running big projects. It wasn't insane. I mean, I was spending easily 4 to anytime 6 hours just traveling by plane and car, and that's where it was like, okay, like again, my family life balance is not intact. A lot of people have addictions. I definitely have an addiction with money. I like it, and so and I would say entrepreneurship too. Like I like the business. I love the thrill of like going to battle and building a company, and you're gonna have wins and losses every day. But someone, if you look at all great entrepreneurs, even like Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, doesn't matter how great you are, you can look at, they sacrificed a lot in their early years, and what they lost the love of their life at the first. And so I think the one person that stuck with them during the good times, the hard times, they lost that. And I did not want that. And I was on the verge of losing that. And so that's where in October we were building houses, and we were, had a great sub and everything like that. They also sold the roofing industry. Dan, our partner here at SRS, we were friends for good 5, 6, 7 years prior to ever starting a roofing business. And And we were really into real estate, developing real estate, talking about that, investing into property. And we had there was a building that needed a new roof. Couldn't get anyone to give us an accurate estimate. It was very hard. And then we had some roofers that just didn't show up or didn't communicate, and it was just frustrating. And even like our housing projects and our apartment that we were working with, the companies that we were working with, the professionalism was just so low, and technology wise was just so low. Even with the company that I was with, it was just, they're kind of stuck in their old ways. They didn't want to really make any huge changes as far as like, I mean, when I left, they were still doing time cards on paper, which is like mind blowing to me. But those were like things that just hurdles that we just couldn't get over and change. And so one of my guys in actually my group, a Bible study, was just like kind of like, you can't change old dog and old an old trick.
Tricks.
Yeah, new tricks. So that's where it kind of stuck on me, and I was just kind of like, man, like, I know how to build businesses. I know how to market. I know how to sell. I know how to staff. I know how to be a leader. I know how to plan, and why. Let's start a roofing and company, and let's make the professionalism high. Let's use technology. Let's build our own technology so we don't have the technology. Let's make sure that we are a 5-star reviews, and that our customers feel that we truly care about them. Let's partner with manufacturers that don't just hand out certifications. There's so many manufacturers that play favorites with contractors and just hand out certifications because these guys have been in business for so long, right? But they're stuck. They're slowly dying. And that was one thing. Like, I wanted a company that wasn't just local, but I want a company that's nationwide, and that's what we're striving for. And I want to build a team that still feels that you're actually still on that team. You're not just a corporate number. And that's what started, Smart Roofer Systems, and it's been going good. There's definitely ups, there's definitely downs. Hard decisions when starting a company from scratch, but I feel like we're on the right path, and we're excited. We're getting ready to finally finish all our paperwork to be able to open up the franchise. We're thriving, here in the community that we're currently serving. We already have people that want to join our team. And that's it. As far as the install goes, running projects, I understand single ply. I understand hot fluid reply. I understand how to do, torch down, SBO. I understand the details. Not only can I, do the business side as far as, running a team and everything like that, but I can actually do the install of the work. I am torch certified with Nationals Roofers Association, right? NRCA. And I actually am a teacher, so I can teach you how to do hot torch. I can teach you how to do single ply roofing and how to install it and certified all your guys. And so that's the other thing that I think is really important with Smart Roofer Systems is not only will you get all the business stuff like marketing, sales, staffing, leadership, and planning, but you're also going to be able to come to our facility, or we come to your facility, and we'll teach you how to do installs. We'll teach you not only how to do installs, but we'll also teach you how to look for, water, infiltration or water damage. And we'll tell you the tools. We actually have Deck Tech tools, Trimex systems, that can scan roof systems and be able to pinpoint exactly where the water's coming in or the damage of the roof. And so I'm kind of a nerd on that aspect of things, install. and I love it. You know, I love building things, and I love building companies, and I love building roofs, and I love building infrastructures. Like our company Thrive is still thriving. So um, that's how I got into it. I mean, it sounds all crazy and kind of all over the place, but at the end of the day, I went back to my roots, and um, what I really I'll never forget that summer working on the roof with my grandpa, climbing up that old wooden ladder, doing a hot tar roof, and feeling the physical labor of it, but the reward after that roof was installed, and then knowing that it's still good, and so um, yeah. Any questions on that?
I don't know. That was sounds like it led you back to where you started originally. So you learned all the skills that you needed to learn, went through all the fire that people have to go through to be successful, and then to realize that what you want and what you don't want, like what's actually important. Because money's one thing, but then if the scale is so unbalanced that you're unhappy and the people around you are unhappy, then it might not be worth it. Mm-hmm. But learning the skill of making money is super, super important. And
there's no secret, but you hear the thing, right?
Yeah.
You got your faith, you got your your family, you got your finances, you got your fitness.
Yeah.
People are like, put those four things together in your life, and your life will be good. And you hear people say that all the time. Uh-huh. If you really just try to check those off every single day, and hey, how did I do with connecting with my God? How did I do connecting with my money, my finances? How did I do connecting with my my family? Did I spend time with my kids today? Did I go out and hang out with my daughter and play some mm-hmm. hoops and actually spend some time to get to know her? How am I doing showing up at with my wife? Getting connected, and showing up as a husband, as a leader inside your family. Are you dating your wife? Are you focusing on the dough? You might be great at making money, but if you're not good at keeping it, or investing it, then there's going to be things that you got to do. And then fitness. Y'all been to my house and you see the gym, and we do just here we started our run club, right? So Jacob's pretty fast on the track, so those are things incorporate it, right? Don't just be so one-sided master business. I think there's so many entrepreneurs out there at a young, when you're in your 20s to your 30s, yeah, you can hit the pavement, you can grind, you can do all that. But once you get married and commit to someone, you need to shift that, because mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, Mackenzie Scott, Jeff Bezos, right? They went through some stuff.
Yeah.
And I bet it kills both of them to that they can talk about and be like, hey, this is what we went through this, mm-hmm. right? But they couldn't hold it together.
Yeah.
At the end. And to me that's sad. And I'm not
you're not crapping on Bezos.
I'm not crapping on them. I think they, you made a ton of money and everything like that, but I'm just looking at, was it worth it? Mm-hmm. You had a woman that you took a risk on you, and you lost that, and she went through the low times with you, and you just kept building it, and that's tough. And look at the kids and stuff like that. How does that feel, right? So for me, I don't want that. If my company is taking over my family life, my family comes first. You made a commitment, and that's the way it works. Me being Christian, my faith comes first, my family comes first before my finances, and that's the way it works.
Absolutely.
Finances is fourth on my list, the way I look at it. If you can't take care of your family, you can't take care of your faith, and you can't take care of your fitness, then there's no point of being able to create money.
Yeah. It moves as your priorities change. Those F's, they move around. So a lot of you guys probably, the finances is number one right now. You're trying to grind. Then later, when you find a lady, it's gonna change. So yeah.
And as far as like business goes too, like with your planning, your money, your operating, your marketing, selling, staffing, leadership, those are going to change. I wish I could say like, hey, I know what the vision is, in the next 2 years, but the truth is you don't. You put it down with the pavement. Another pavement goes down, and you just keep paving that road. So,
You bet.
One thing that I could say that we do well here, we have clear communication. We have clear ways to look at data, to see, like, look back as far as I can probably, a simple right here. We have a project manager who's on vacation. We have a big job going on. They missed, an order, and we're able to not have to call her and look at it. We can see, okay, like, this is what got missed. Here's how it got missed, and we're going to get that out there today to get that underlayment installed. And the fact that you can just look on your phone and be like, okay, here's the data. Boom. That's what systems create. That's what planning creates. That's what operating successfully creates.
Yep.
Queso Siberia really got some spice still in it, kicking around.
I told you guys it'd be a good story though.
So, so if you guys want to learn more in the roofing industry, you want to create smart roofer systems in your company, fly out here. Fly out Fridays. Come talk with us. Come have lunch. We'll look at your business, what you're currently doing in your roofing business, and see if we can help. And also maybe see if like SRS is going to be a good system for you to start implementing into your roofing business. So keep installing those roofs and have fun doing it. Talk to you later.
See ya.